Alright guys, want to give you an update on the Zenith 750 Cruzer build. So in the last video I was doing some deburring and some cleaning up of the parts using my fancy Harbor Freight bench grinder with my very expensive 3M Scotch-Brite wheel. This is the very fine one. I didn't want to get anything too heavy. But what had happened was I was out here deburring away. I was making really good work of it, getting a lot done. And I accidentally used deburred a steel part with my wheel. Now, I'm no expert when it comes to what materials you can use on what. But as far as I know, and the research that I've done, is that you should not use the same grinding, deburring, whatever, on steel and aluminum. Apparently, the little steel particles that come off when you're deburring, when you go to use an aluminum part, deburr an aluminum part, apparently those steel particles will get embedded into the aluminum, which causes a corrosion issue. Now, I'm very fortunate that I caught it as soon as I did it when I was deburring the part. It was a galvanized steel part. I don't know how I don't know how I did it. I was just trucking along deburring, and then boom, I was like, oh crap, this is a galvanized steel part. Now, as far as I know, it's the same with galvanized steel. But yeah, I decided to postpone my deburring and cleaning of the parts until I get a new wheel. So it's very unfortunate because those wheels are not cheap. They're expensive. But I do not want to risk having corrosion issues on my parts. So I decided I was going to pause the deburring. I ordered some new tools. I ordered a new wheel. And I decided to work on something else. So I'm going to show you guys here in just a second what I worked on instead, or what I'm working on now. But I want to talk to you a little bit about the process I'm going to take building this. Originally, I wanted to build the fuselage first. The reason I wanted to do that was because I felt like it would keep me motivated. I felt like it would let me see progress a lot quicker if I was, building the fuselage, because I'm going to see the airplane coming together. That was my plan. And then the other day I was in here, and I was actually with my brother, and we were talking and stuff, and I realized that if I build the fuselage in here first, I'm not going to have room to have my table in here anymore, and I need my table in order to build the wings and build the rest of the airplane parts. Now, I guess I could build the plane, install the motor, the avionics, and then bring, I could, I guess, bring the table back in. I have nowhere to put the table. So unfortunately for me, when I'm done with this build completely, like, this table's got to go. I don't have anywhere for it to, I don't have anywhere else to put it. So the thoughts behind that is, if I start with the wings and I do all those, I do the wings, and the rudder's already done, but I can do the horizontal stabilizer, things like that. I can do those first. That way I can store them somewhere. I don't know if I'm going to be able to store them in here. I'm going to try to store them in here, but if I don't have room, I can take those and, I can manage to store those somewhere until I move this project to a hangar. And I can do the fuselage essentially last. So when I'm putting the fuselage on the wheels, I can get this table out of here, and I'm done with this table, and then the plane's just going to be sitting in here. The fuselage on the wheels is going to be sitting in here, and then I can put the engine on it, I can work on the avionics, and I can do all that stuff. So that's my process. So what I did the other day is I decided to start getting some of the wing parts out and kind of reading the plans and putting it together how it's supposed to go together. So let me show you guys that now. So as you can see here, I have this is the right wing spar on the table. I got out all the ribs. I separated the left from the right. I labeled them, put them all in their correct orientation, labeled them, and I even numbered them, which isn't that important yet until I start to, drill them and things like that. But actually, these ones are already, I think these are already drilled to size, but the rear ribs do not appear to be drilled to size, so I'm gonna have to drill these out. But I did number them all just so I know where they go, and then that'll keep everything separated. I numbered them on the spar, and just got an idea. You know, I still got more parts to pull out, but just getting an idea on how this thing's going to go together. I'm looking at the drawings. I'm watching the home help or the home built help videos, and I'm just doing everything I can, so I know what I'm doing basically. I've looked over this spar pretty well. I don't see anything. I don't see any large scratches or nicks. There's a few scratches in it. I mean, this stuff I can barely even feel with my finger. I will go over this and probably clean a lot of this stuff up. If I see anything, I'm just going to clean it up. In the construction manual, it does mention sanding out the scratches and the nicks from the wing spar. Like there's some right here. And they're not super deep. Like some of them I can just feel with my finger. But I'm going to clean all this stuff up. I've been looking over this spar. I've been looking for anything that looks like it would cause a stress point, and really not seeing a whole lot. Like I said, just little scratches here and there, and I'm gonna sand those out. On the ribs, on the other hand, doing the same kind of thing. I'm looking for things like this. I'll give you an example. There's a scratch in this rib. Now this otherwise would be okay to have a scratch in the rib, but, and look at that, I just cut my finger on here. I just cut my finger. But as I was saying, this otherwise would be okay, but this scratch goes up into the lightning hole all the way to the edge, and we do not want that. So yes, these things are sharp and they definitely need to be deburred. So these are the types of things I'm looking for when I'm looking at these parts, okay? If I just see a little scratch, like here's a little scratch right here, this little scratch right here is not going to do anything, right? But when I see scratches going across holes, you know, anything that looks like it's, you know, relatively deep, I definitely want to address them. Like stuff like this, I can't even feel that with my finger, and that's not causing me any that's not raising any flags basically to me. This on the other hand, this is a pretty, see, that's a pretty deep nick. So that's something that when I'm deburring this hole so I don't cut my fingers, that's something that I'm going to address, and I'm going to smooth that out because that is a stress point, okay? And these are things that I'm looking at and I'm looking for as I'm taking my time to go over these parts. Now, none of these parts are going to be completely scratchless, and that's just because this stuff, you literally run your finger across it like this and it creates a scratch. So I'm not looking for perfection here. I'm just looking for, you know, anything that would raise a stress point basically. And you know, same thing on the spar. I'm going to make sure that I check the torque on all these nuts and bolts. Going to make sure that they're torqued.